Our guest speaker today is Claudia Mena. Claudia is an economist and holds 2 master's degrees, one in economics and banking from Siena University in Italy, and a finance master's degree from IEU University in Mexico. For over a decade, she has created, coordinated, and launched new courses focused on Hispanic identity and Our Lady of Guadalupe, a radio show called Let's Enjoy Our Identity, supervising and training new team members to expand the promotion of research on Hispanic identity worldwide. She has shared her research with schools and diverse cultural organizations. Claudia, the floor is yours.
Well, it's an honor for me here to be here at the Near Encounter. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. It's a dream come true, so thank you for inviting me. I appreciate each taking the time to be here. English is my second language, therefore I'll try to do my best in order to express myself correctly. In this talk, I'm sharing, there we are. Thank you. In this talk, I'm sharing my personal journey, my testimony of finding about my identity, who am I, and the role that Our Lady of Guadalupe has played in. Who am I? So the layers of my questioning of who am I started from the ethnic perspective. Then it led to a cultural research of who am I? Let me put this here. And finally ended in an ontological questioning about who am I? This is how my journey began. I was an exchange student in Madrid, Spain. The conversation with one of my Spanish friends went like this. My friend told me, "You look like a native Mexican." I replied, "Have you ever been in Mexico?" She said, "No, I haven't." Then I responded, "Well, then you don't know what native Mexicans look like." For me, there was a choice to make. I could embrace the questions that emerged or not. Why did I get mad? Why did I not like what she told me? I realized I felt she was telling me I was not European enough, therefore I was not beautiful enough. Then she and her boyfriend told me Mexicans do not accept their native background. Mexican women wear lighter than their skin makeup. In Europe, it's the opposite way. We wear darkened makeup because it means we have gone to the beach, and going to the beach gives us a status. Latin women like to dye their hair with a lighter tone as well. The blonder, the better. Living in Spain and Italy, I usually got the contrasting comments. I spoke and dressed like them, so people will think I was a Spaniard while living in Spain or Italian while living in Italy. So why did I like it when Spaniards and Italians were surprised that I was Mexican? I discovered it was because I felt like they were telling me I was European enough, therefore I was beautiful enough. I realized I had an issue accepting my ethnic background. Is it like for all Mexicans, or is it only my issue? Is it only a Mexican issue? I once vacationated in Houston, Texas. I attended a bilingual mass, English and Spanish speakers singing together. When I sat on the bench, I happened to be seated between the Spanish-speaking and the English choirs. One lady from the Spanish choir asked me, "Why did you join the English choir and not the Spanish one?" I replied, "I am on vacation and I want to practice my English." She was astonished. How could I join the English choir if I was Mexican? It seemed to me I could not belong to both choirs, I could not belong to both cultures. Maybe I'm mistaken, I gotta say that. But it seems to me that there is a way of being an immigrant which keeps the native culture and prevents the person from adapting to the new country and language, or the opposite way, a requirement or need to reject the native culture in order to welcome the new one. Let me give you an example. Can you say you are Mexican American or Italian American or African American and love both cultures? In order to say you are American, do you have to reject your native heritage or vice versa? If you're not of mixed cultures, may I ask you, do you embrace your mom and your dad's side of the family equally? Or in order to embrace one of your parents' family, do you have to reject the other one? Is it possible to fully embrace who we are? I started reading about inclusion. I am very excited, I gotta tell you that. Watching Salma Hayek and Tenoch Huerta, both Mexican acting and superheroes. I do love the Latin American representation on the big screen, but what determines who am I, is it only my ethnicity? I discovered I cannot wait for Marvel or someone else to tell me I am beautiful just because my ethnicity is represented as a Latina in a character. If I am not only my ethnicity, I am more than that. But who am I? I found there is also a cultural identity that is related to our history as a country. Some of the cultural questions during this research for me, as Mexican, is it true that Spaniards destroyed our Mexican native culture? What is it that in order to embrace our Spanish heritage, we have to reject our native Mexican one or vice versa? If I migrate to another country and I interact with people from other nationalities, what do I have to offer to the world? What am I offering to you in this talk? I remember I spoke with some Latin American immigrants in the US and I asked them, what do you have to offer to this country? Why are you here? What are your dreams? What's good in you that you can share with others? Is there something beyond my ethnic perspective and cultural background? Yes, my ontological identity. There are a set of deep questions that have emerged during this journey. Who am I? What's my identity? How can I embrace who am I? Where do I belong? To whom do I belong? I found great companionship, but also historical and ontological companionship in my research of my native Mexican background. The first thing that I found is the depth of the native Mexican research for the truth. They even developed a concept called flor y canto, flowers and songs. So what is flor y canto, flowers and songs? According to author Leon Portilla, a flower, taken individually, is a symbol of the beauty that withers. But Tlamatimini, the wise man, supported that through poetry, flower and songs together, they will be able to reach that truth. In modern terms, poetry, it's the dialogue between divinity and humanity. In simpler words, flor y canto, flowers and songs, is the expression written in a poem of the deepest desires of the heart that will never perish. But the issue is, can those desires be fulfilled? What does the native Mexican experience say about the fulfillment of desires? There comes an example of a poem by Cuauhtémoc. I'll read it first in Spanish and then we go through it in English. Flores con ansia mi corazón desea. Yo sufro con el canto y solo ensayo cantos en la tierra. Yo, Cuauhtémoc, quiero flores que duren en mis manos. Yo, ¿dónde tomaré hermosas flores, hermosos cantos? Jamás los produce aquí la primavera. Yo solo me atormento, yo, Cuauhtémoc. ¿Podréis gozar acaso? ¿Podrán tener placer nuestros amigos? Yo, ¿dónde tomaré hermosas flores, hermosos cantos? Let's go with the English version, step by step. First line, my heart anxiously wishes for a flower. In this case, Cuauhtémoc, the author, Cuauhtlin's heart anxiously wishes for a sign of beauty. For the natives, flowers are this sign of beauty. Second, third, and fourth line. I suffer with the song and only rehearse flowers on earth. Cuauhtlin, I want flowers to last in my hands. Cuauhtlin suffers with flower and songs, the deepest desires of his heart. Why? Because the flowers, the sign of beauty, that he finds are only a rehearsal. They will perish. On earth, we can only rehearse. Life is a rehearsal. That is to say, the final play will be somewhere else. Cuauhtlin desires to have in his hands the beauty that lasts forever. We go from lines 5 to 9. Where will I take beautiful flowers, beautiful songs? Spring never sends them here. I only torment myself. Cuauhtlin, can you by chance enjoy? Can our friends feel pleasure? Where will I take beautiful flowers, beautiful songs? For me, it is amazing that Cuauhtlin opens his reason and expresses, I want flowers. In his experience, springtime does not bring them, but there must be somewhere else. He does not know where he could find the fulfillment of his desires, but he's open to the possibility of finding an answer. So he asks the divine for them. Where will I take beautiful flowers, beautiful songs? This is the highest expression of a religious sense and of the use of reason, not just for natives, but for every human being. Cuauhtlin's torment, his melancholy, is part of the most important Mexican traditional songs, including mariachi and other types of songs, of music. It's part of our culture to search for the truth, the beauty that lasts forever. Now that I know my native Mexican heritage better, how could I not feel proud of having those ancestors? At the same time, we all make mistakes and do evil. Human sacrifices are horrifying, even if natives understood it as a way to reach the giver of life and to help their gods keep life by offering human blood. So who am I? I have founded Mene, the wise men, a great companion in my life. They have helped me recognize that we share the same questions. We both desire a beauty that lasts forever. We share the melancholy. I also feel the torment of not being able to fulfill my deepest desires. Should I close my identity journey now because I love my native Mexican heritage? No, I also have Spanish heritage. The following is the official history that it's learned at school. We learned that the good Aztecs were conquered by the bad Spaniards in 1521. The next page starts with the beginning of the War of Independence in 1810. So history books hide 3 centuries from viceregal times. Ironically, it is an essential moment in the development of New Spain's, now Mexico's, identity. Hernán Cortés is one of the most hated figures in Mexican history. He is viewed as an invader, not as a creator. You won't ever hear that Mexico's founding father is Hernán Cortés, although in my opinion, he is. Let's pretend you belong to a family where your mom tells you the worst about your dad's side of the family. You love your mom and live with her, but whenever she tells you that, she's also telling you bad things about yourself because you're part of your dad's family as well. We have heard about our dad, Spain, and his family, that they have mistreated everyone, enslaved everyone from your mom's side of the family, robbed her. What else they did? They left her and her children. Now, let's think about your dad's side of the family. You heard that your mom, the native Mexican in this case, is weak, naive, uneducated. She loves you, but she did not defend you against your dad when you were abused in any way. If you do not feel proud of either side of your family, how do you know who you are? That is how I was educated to think. Education is a huge weapon. Returning to my Spanish heritage. So why is it so hard for me to understand the 16th century Spanish mindset? First, the way I was educated at school, but also because of the United Spanish mentality. In the Spanish mindset, religion was a relationship with the ones who makes them in every way. For example, in most vice-regal Latin American cities, you will find a Zócalo downtown. There we'll see the cathedral, in front of which you'll find the municipality building, the mayor's building, and on the sides there are the portales, the portals, where nowadays you find restaurants, coffee shops, etc. In the heart of the city, there is a space where fun, religion, government, everything are together. How can that be possible? Here is another example of their united mentality. The first trip made to what now is called Mexico, Hernán Cortés brought around 600 conquistadores and Friar Bartolomé de Olmedo and Priest Juan Diaz. So the conquistadores needed a blessing. They had mass even during wartime. Here is the last example of their united mentality. There is one scene described in author Guerrero's book where the Spanish soldiers, during the 2-year battle against the Aztecs, they stopped and taught the native Mexicans how to produce candle and flower arrangements. Have you ever seen another army conquering territories and then waste time teaching? So why for the Spaniards was there nothing apart from God? Daily life, politics, fun, government, teaching, not even war. We all know 1492 was a very important year for humanity, the discovery of the Americas by Christopher Columbus, and it was the start of the questioning. It's like we discovered extraterrestrial life in an unknown planet. So what will the questions be? Like, who are they? Who are we? Are they human beings? What makes us different from them? And what makes us the same? 1492 was also a very important year for the Spaniards because it was the end of the reconquest of the Spanish territory that had been occupied by Muslims for almost 8 centuries. After 1492, the entire peninsula was controlled by Christian rulers led by Isabel and Ferdinand, the Catholic king and queen. What amazes me is that when the New World was discovered, the Catholic monarchs were courageous in facing the questions stated before. They were open asking questions, willing to discover. Why did the Spaniards keep the Catholic religion if they were under the Muslim rule for 8 centuries? The Spanish crown was an heir from the Christian mindset and believing we're all children of God. Human rights started as part of the journey of many questions regarding who a person is. We can live with the consequences of that mindset because Latin America is mestiza in every single aspect: ethnicity, culture, architecture, and arts in general. If the concept of a person would not have been that we are all children of God, there would not be this mix. I would not be seated in front of you having this talk. What was the mindset that helped the Spaniards build a new world? Why were they not afraid of the mestizo culture, but at the same time, why did they reject everything that had to do with the native Mexican religion? If you or either of your parents are immigrants in this great nation, imagine the excitement of living in a new land that it's perceived as the land of the opportunities, just like the American dream, or like populating an unknown planet. For the mendicant orders, the Americas were the new promised land. The friars were impetuous, well-founded, and had to be adventurous. They were our founding fathers, the ones who actually made different native civilizations become one country. Many countries, I may say, in Hispanic America. Spain was a brand new country made of different reigns. Therefore, Spaniards were not experts in becoming one united country. What mentality would they have in order to build something they did not know how to build? So, who am I? Learning from 16th century Spanish history is fascinating to me, but the ontological perspective has been more difficult than I thought because of the way I was educated at school and the united mentality my ancestors had. Nevertheless, I would like to learn from them for the open questions I stated before. My cultural background was an impossible unity, because all the good the natives had in their religious sense and all the good the Spaniards had in their conception of life as children of God was not enough for their discrepancies. It ended in 1521 with the taking of Mexico Tenochtitlan by Commander Hernán Cortés and his native allies. It was not a war between natives and Spaniards. Let me see. There were around 600 Spaniards and around 250,000 inhabitants just in Mexico Tenochtitlan. It was the alliances Cortés made with the Aztec enemies that made it possible for them to win over the Aztecs. The defeat was also possible because of the worst epidemic they have ever experienced. Smallpox killed a lot of the native population. Why did only natives die? Because the disease was introduced by the Spaniards. The worst part for the natives was that the smallpox epidemic was interpreted as a magical weapon with which their own gods were killing them. Human sacrifices were stopped by the Spaniards, so the natives eventually realized that there was no need for them. There was still life on Earth, there was still order in the cosmos, the sun, the moon, day, night, rain, etc. For them, it was that either their gods never existed or betrayed them. Both ideas ended up in catastrophic new behaviors for the defeated natives. They wanted to die. Alcoholism started, and people decided not to have children. What was the point of searching for this beauty that lasts forever if their gods did not exist? Or even worse, if their gods had betrayed them? Who were they if their gods had abandoned them? After Mexico Tenochtitlan conquest, there was a total destruction, not just for the city, but mainly all of the native Mexicans. Their beliefs were proven not to stand in the face of war, destruction, deaths of their family and friends, and they had no one they could ask for an answer. The situation was so miserable that Mexico's first Archbishop, Friar Juan de Zumárraga, wrote a letter to Charles V that included this phrase: "If God does not provide a remedy from his hand, the earth is about to be totally lost." And God answered his plea. This is where we change from the who am I to the who am I that you care for me. The historical event of the apparitions of Our Lady of Guadalupe happened 10 years after the conquest of Mexico Tenochtitlan, from December the 9th to 12th, 1531. Saint Juan Diego Cuauhtla was a native Mexican in his 50s who was the witness of the apparitions. Maybe you know this story, but there are relevant facts. Our Lady of Guadalupe spoke to Juan Diego in his native language, Nahuatl, the Aztec language. The description of the apparitions is written in the book Nican Mopowa, Heresy Told. Interestingly, its earliest known copy is in the New York Public Library. Juan Diego was one of the few natives who converted before the apparitions. Through Our Lady of Guadalupe and Juan Diego's dialogue, we could understand that Our Lady of Guadalupe introduced herself as the mother for the God we live for. The native Mexicans' religious approach was always looking for ways of reaching God. But now the one whom we live for answered by reaching the people through his mother. Our Lady of Guadalupe welcomed Juan Diego in December in a place full of flowers and birds. Do you remember the flowers and song poem? It's December, and there are flowers and birds, a sign that there is a beauty that lasts forever. Our lady requested that Juan Diego ask the bishop to build her a temple. It's the native mindset. The first structure to be built in a new city was the temple, which was the heart of the city. The temple meant the beginning of a new civilization, the start of a new era, a mestizo civilization. Our Lady of Guadalupe specifically wanted the bishop, Friar Juan de Zumárraga, to build her temple. She does not work alone. She needs the church, the body of Christ, to build her temple in order to make her son present among her children. The other person Our Lady appeared to was Juan Diego's uncle, Bernardino. He was an elderly man who she healed. She gave him her name, Siempre Virgen Santa María de Guadalupe, always Virgin Our Lady of Guadalupe. Guadalupe means curse of the river. She's not the water, but the curse. She leads us to Jesus, her son. She does not lead us to herself, but leads us to be in relationship with Jesus. This is a part from the Nican Mopoa. Our Lady is a mother, so she says, "Am I not here, I, who am your mother? Are you not under my shadow and protection? Am I not the source of your joy? Are you not in the hollow of my mantle, in the crossing of my arms?" Who is Juan Diego in front of Our Lady of Guadalupe? Who is Juan Diego, the chosen one, to spread the good news? Who is he that she cares for him? Who is he if the Almighty God reaches him through his mother? The impossible unity that was possible. Spaniards wanted to come to the New World in order to help God to save the native souls. Natives did not want to convert into Catholicism because it was a religion that was not true for them. How did this impossible unity come true? Through divine intervention, the event of Our Lady of Guadalupe, but the continuity of this event needed both parties to collaborate together, natives and Spaniards. Whether you believe in Our Lady of Guadalupe apparitions or not, she has been a symbol of unity of the mestizo world in Mexico. Did you know that the first Mexican flag during the Independence War carried the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe? For those who believe in the apparitions, she's their mother. One interesting miracle of Our Lady of Guadalupe is that the ones who come to visit her experience her motherhood. Visiting Our Lady of Guadalupe at the Basilica has been an uninterrupted tradition since 1531, almost 5 centuries. And this way, it is the way in which Christianity adapts to the sensitivity of the people. It is the proof of a historical continuity that recovers the deepest and most sensitive part of what the heart desires, flowers and songs, the beauty that lasts forever. Who am I? I want to find a place where there is the beauty that lasts forever. The place where friendship, love, relationships in general, everything can last forever. Can it be possible nowadays? This place for me has been the church. Specifically, it's a group where I could share the questions about who am I and the journey of finding what my identity is. I am introducing this group to you, in case you'd like to join us. My final story. The Mañanitas are the Mexican happy birthday song. It is sang at midnight for her birthday every December the 12th. Since 2009, I have gone every year to the Basilica. Last time we were 12.5 million pilgrims for her birthday, in case you'd like to join us. For me, the most interesting discoveries that I have made regarding Our Lady are: what are the most beautiful signs of the mestizo culture in Mexico that had emerged after Our Lady of Guadalupe apparitions? Cathedrals, buildings, streets, zócalos, paintings, sculptures, etc. No. Her message is related to being the mother of God. What is the most precious thing to a mother? Her children. Our Lady of Guadalupe, most valuable treasure is you. She wants to love her children. And I do not mean only Mexicans, no. Children can have different nationalities and look different than their mom, and she loves them. Therefore, being children of Our Lady of Guadalupe means to realize that we are loved by someone greater than us. Who are we that she cares for us? Who am I that you care for me? Have I ever had an experience like this? I spoke at my grandma's funeral. I did my own interpretation of the words Pope Francis said in the gathering of St. Peter's Square in 2015. I said, Grandma, do you remember that phrase? You were the arms, hands, feet, mind, and heart of Our Lady of Guadalupe to me. For her, I was not a problem to solve. I was her treasure, her loved one. I can ask my grandma, who am I that you care for me? I started to embrace the questions, who am I, when I discovered there is someone who cares for me. Now, I can proudly say I am culturally the result of two great civilizations, native Mexicans and Spaniards. What gives me value is not only my ethnic background and my culture, but ontologically, who am I? I am a beloved daughter of the one we live for, and the one of Our Lady of Guadalupe's favorite children. Who am I? Who am I that the one to whom we live for accompanied me when my friend told me I look like a native Mexican? Who am I that I want to go beyond the history that I was taught at school and embrace the truth about my heritage, both Spanish and native Mexican? Who am I that I go every year to Our Lady of Guadalupe's birthday and have friends who come with me? Who am I that I sang twice at Our Lady's birthday at the Basilica? Who am I that my heart is fulfilled and I would not exchange myself for anyone in the world when I spread the word about this journey? Who am I that I get to be at the near encounter with all of you? Who am I that I was chosen to spread the message even though I'm clearly unworthy of this mission? Who am I that you care for me? Well, I want to invite you to the Guadalupe Intercontinental Novena. It started in December 2022, and it will end in 2031. So the Mexican Bishops' Conferences has declared a 9-year novena of prayer and preparation for the 500th anniversary of Our Lady of Guadalupe event. Pope Francis said, I urge to all members of the Pilgrim Church in the Americas, pastors and faithful, to participate in the celebratory journey that aims to promote an encounter with God through Our Lady of Guadalupe for the renewal of the social and ecclesial fabric of those peoples and communities. You can see their webpage. This is a gift from you from our group.
Desconsuelo, y tú, la reina del cielo, sufrías nuestro dolor, María. En un acontecimiento quisiste romper el tiempo y manifestar tu amor, María. Elegiste a nuestro pueblo para construir tu templo y darnos tu calor, María, María de Guadalupe. Mira tu pueblo que sufre, guíanos en tu amor, María, María de Guadalupe. Mira tu pueblo que sufre, guíanos en tu amor, María. Desde ese instante y ahora, eres por siempre Señora. nuestra compañera fiel, María, es tu figura divina, el sol que nos ilumina, con la luna a tus pies. María, pequeña como nosotros, llevas en tu bello rostro el color de nuestra piel. María, María de Guadalupe, mira tu pueblo que sufre, guíanos en tu amor. María, María de Guadalupe, mira tu pueblo que sufre, guíanos en tu amor. María, es tu cabello tan negro como una noche de invierno en la frescura del mar. María, y tus manos tan pequeñas, y en tu manto las estrellas que tu luz hace brillar. María, en tu mirada serena, preciosa Virgen morena, reposa nuestro mirar. María, María de Guadalupe, mira tu pueblo que sufre, guíanos en tu amor. María, María de Guadalupe, mira tu pueblo que sufre, guíanos en tu amor.
Thank you. Who am I to